Evening. Welcome to the Granite Falls School Board meeting. The time is 6 o'clock. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I just realized that I gave away my agenda. I would like to welcome our board, Director Dane, Director Ledoux, Director Kincaid, Director Carey, our student representatives, Danny and Ariel, thank you. And Dr. Middleton is here with us tonight, so thank you. Do you need this? Yes, please. So next, moving to 2A district reports. We have the athletics and activities annual report presented by Tony Helgeson. Oh, I do have it. Somebody might.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thank you for everything you do to strengthen our community, everybody in this room, as well as congrats, success and Ed winners. And so it was an interesting season, a fun season. Thus far, there's still softball ends today, and then playoffs begin next week. We're losing some of the schools in our 1A conference. Sultan's going 2A, Seattle Academy's going 2A, and then you have a third one, which is Forest Ridge. They're dropping back down to B. And so they'll be gone out of the conference, leaves us at 11, I think. And so the fall sports, cheer, you can see the sports we cater to. And so cheer, feel for these girls, true dedication. I mean, their season is so long compared to all other sports. Right, they have at minimum 2 seasons. And then if they go competitive, it's 3 seasons. We have not yet gone competitive, but we're hoping to do so in the future. You know, standing out in the rain and, you know, just cheering on the fellas, and they do a lot more than that behind the scenes. Football, our numbers were up. You can see our accolades for first team all conference, and we only have 4 teams in our conference. And they look how many first team all conference we got, you know, as well as honorable mention. And then the new school records are on the right there with Caden LaPlante and Mr. Roberts. And then another good accolade, Coach of the Year for Brandon Davis. That's great, as voted on by his peers. Girls soccer, tough division. They're all in one division, and a lot of the other schools cater to soccer. And soccer, basketball, volleyball, they cater heavily in those sports, and they don't offer some of the sports that we do, so it's tough to line up with them in certain areas. They had a good season. When I talked to them, said that their morale was high. They bonded well. And they didn't get a winning record, but it's not all about wins and losses. It's about the experience, you know. And then cross country was at the meets, the home meets, and we hosted a huge tournament, 33 teams with Westco and our Emerald Sound Conference. And thinking in the future to keep more funds, we split at 20/80 because they had more schools. But for the future, we want to charge at the gate instead of charging the conferences, and keep the money in our because we're using our facilities, we're using our track, you know, and so the thought is we would just pay out of the funds collected at the gate. That's the game plan for next year anyway. Let's see, people seem to love our course. It finishes really well on the track. And so parents and spectators get a great view of the action. We got 1 to state. this year, but we've had at least one to state since 2016 every year. And there's been years we've had multiple people to state. So the coach is great, very positive guy, and encourages his athletes. Let's see, volleyball. You can see JV did very well. Varsity did well. They placed high in a really tough tournament with 3A, 4A, 2A schools. And you can see Reagan's accolade there. She was 72 blocks. She was #1 in the state of Washington. And then below first team. Winter sports that we offered. And boys basketball, it may not look like a great record, but it's the best they've had in a long time. So they're on the upswing, which is great. And then had to win 5 games in a row in order to make the playoffs, and did so. And then they handed one of the tougher schools their first loss of the season. And then we placed second, and then we were 2 games away from state, which is very good. Let's see, we had possibly the best record ever. I only went back to about 2016, so really good record. Reagan's name comes up again. You can see Addie was first team, and then another coach of the year, which is great. And then boys and girls wrestling, we ended up getting 1 to state. And Chris McDonald, great employee at the high school, does a lot. He got assistant, as you see. And then we maintained our belt, which means it's like the black and blue bowl in football. And so we started that last year. And so we still were able to maintain the belt, which is great. And then spring sports. Some of the technologies we use, and they're not all listed on there. There's Still Arbiter and Athletic.net and a handful of others, PNC. And so learning all those was a challenge this first year, but expected. So Unified Soccer, it's sponsored by the Special Olympics. It's a great unifying and inclusionary process for the athletes. They get to work with other student athletes, and one of their highlights is the Lake Stevens Invitational. They buy pizza, and the cheerleaders come out and they do some dancing, and they do all kinds of fun activities for the kiddos. And then they're not quite done. They'll be done May 11th. Boys baseball. One of my highlights memories was their senior night. It was just like when the M's won the pennant and tackled Ken Griffey at the home plate and landed on him. There's only 7 innings in a high school baseball. And so we were up by 8 and they tied it, Solton tied it in the 7th. And so we had to go to extra innings. And so in the 9th inning, we hit a dinger to a home run. And I was talking to Dave and I said, I have never seen a home run on this field. And then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, it happened. So it was very exciting. And all the kids I talked to said it was a really fun year. They improved every game. They won the team sportsmanship all conference award. And then you can see James and Landon were first team all conference. Let's see, girls fast pitch. They are playing right now. They should be done by now. And I haven't got an update yet, but you can see Addie is great at stolen bases. Bella, the pitcher, she's 26th in state for wins. And Carissa is great at doubles for some reason. She hits lots of doubles. And then Coach Bergen, 100 career win. Let's see, boys soccer, more state eligible this year. We had an eligibility problem last year with grades and whatnot. And so they had more kiddos. And when I say best yellow card numbers, it doesn't mean we had the most, we had the least. Okay. And great sportsmanship. All the other teams mentioned that to me, you know, that your kids are so well behaved. And track and field, I just got back from a middle school meet. And we're hosting Thursday, Saturday, the next 2 weeks. So we'll be busy with that. Yeah, Diaz seems to be a really great pole vaulter. I just threw that in there as an accolade. And everyone seems to love our stadium. They want to use it. And so thank you for getting that done as collectively as a school board and the community. It's probably the best stadium in the state, in my opinion. I mean, it's awesome to go out there and just see it in its glory. Girls tennis, and I think in my opinion, I think a lot of the female athletes get absorbed by all the other sports. And so I think that they haven't had a lot of athletes to draw upon. And so they secured 3 wins. Girls are excited for next year. The coach was talking about possibly implementing boys tennis. And that's a whole process that we'd have to look at with equity issues. And total student athletes, some of these are double and triple athletes, meaning they play multiple sports, right? So number was 351. Our student body is 570. So that was 61%, but I would say we're more in the 50-ish range when we add in the double and single athletes, multiple sports, excuse me. And areas of development, definitely for me, it was WI final forms. It's like navigating for OSPI site. OSPI site is very confusing to me as far as where to find certain things. So if I were ever to be athletic director again, definitely final forms, I need to take some more coursework. But it was kind of overwhelming learning all the different platforms. We have our schedules on 5, 6 different platforms, and some of them link, some of them don't. So you got to go in and make sure that they're there. And we have our own website that needs to be maintained. But in closing, just a huge thank you. I learned a lot. I had a great time in that process, and it was a great learning experience for me and growing. So some of the needs off the top of my head, maybe is strengthening the stadium area, getting gates in certain areas so that people can't get in there. I mean, they can get we have gates right now, but I'm not talking barbed wire or anything like that, but kids can rip open the doors. And so I don't know what we do to fix that. But when I'm done with driver's ed, I drive by there every day and shut the gate because somebody leaves it open. And so with sports, obviously, money, but I know where we're at. So volleyball's got a couple needs with getting new nets. Cross country is pretty self-sufficient. Wrestling's pretty self-sufficient, other than covering tournament costs. So hoping that maybe we go back to pre-COVID and do budgets for each sport. Like where soccer doesn't need as big a budget as what other sport we have necessity for. So maybe we can look at that as we grow financially. Yeah, football pretty self-sufficient with the gate. Just the helmet refurbishing is just atrociously expensive, but it has to be done. I mean, it's a necessity. And our trainer's great. Love having him. And so that's the basic needs I can think of. Any questions?
I have one. Are you okay with me going first? Thank you, Tony, by the way. I really appreciate you jumping in and doing this. So a couple of questions. First off, I guess I'll ask on the money side of things. It's funny, I was talking to another board member who was telling me about one of their programs and like all the things they're doing. I was like, how are you funding that? And they were like boosters.
And so are we leveraging boosters, with the fundraisers and all of that stuff for these different sports to really kind of, provide additional, funds on things that we'd like to do, cool new uniforms, and all of that stuff? Do we have a robust booster group, I guess?
I would say yes, we do.
We do, okay.
Not every sport utilizes them. It is probably one of the better routes to go, because it is less paperwork.
That's exactly it, yeah.
And so soccer, I know is utilizing them right now. As far as I told them to go through, in fact, I texted them 2 hours ago, but said, go through boosters. It's just a lot easier, to move money.
Mhm.
And, I know football does. And, we tap pretty hard on the community doors for extra funds and we tax them pretty heavily anyway, but, baseball, I know, has asked certain businesses to get a sign out in the field and they'll donate, I think it's $200 and we pay $50 to get it made at the middle school.
Mhm.
And so, but yes, we do utilize the boosters. Everybody has an account. Some are larger, some are smaller, some haven't been touched, but for the most part, yeah.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. And obviously, if there's ever anything that, I'm speaking now, it's just as an individual to help support boosters or, I don't necessarily clear like their fundraisers and stuff like that they're doing, because I would love to support and donate and stuff like that. Let me know, because I would love to, to give for those types of things.
Okay.
The second question, I was just thinking as you were talking, and maybe you can answer it, maybe Dr. M, you can. Do we track any metrics for academic eligibility and stuff like that? Like each year or each sport, like if that number, if the ratio of academic and eligibility comparative to the students, if that changes or increase? Because personally, I always say tongue in cheek, but it's absolutely true. Like in high school, I was a C- student. And the only reason I was a C- student and not a D or an F is because you need a C- to play football. And that's what mattered to me, was playing football. School didn't matter to me, right? School was the conduit to play football. So,
It was wrestling.
yeah, so is there, and that's okay, right? If that's the thing that gets you in the door, gets you studying, then so, that's the student athlete thing. So do we track that at all, Dr. M? I'd just be curious.
We have, and I know Tony had just shared the percentage of participation. I don't know if it was before Michael or during Michael's time, but and off the top of my head, I can't tell you what the trend is, but there has been a significant increase in the number of students participating in extracurricular compared to 5 or 6 years ago.
Nice.
And that's, that is, and I think we're seeing it. I remember my first year here, football team was struggling to get, 26, 28 kids out. And now look at it and to see, and I love wrestling. I've always, it's my favorite high school sport. And to see that number, because I think even, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but I think even 5, 6, 7 years ago, that was a smaller number. And then that has really grown. So,
And we've got a girls team.
yeah, so we could certainly bring back the specifics, but I know the upward trend is exciting.
Maybe on a future one or something, I just, because that to me, wins and losses matter, obviously, right? There's, you prepare, you work hard and you want to go out, you want to be successful, but personally to me, that matters more than the wins and losses. Don't get me wrong. I won a state championship. What the FBLA is doing is amazing, but that, the student comes first in the athlete, right? That part, I just want to make sure that we're doing and that coaches are, leaning into their students like, hey, listen, like I did a grade check, man. You're the D. Like, I need you to work hard to get this up, and that we're really kind of focusing on that as much as the W's and L's and stuff like that.
And Mr. Nicely and Mr. Maynard, I think, now Mr. Bianchini, I mean, they always emphasize the more you're involved in, the better you do. I mean, it's sort of a inverse relationship, but it does result in higher academic performance.
Okay. Yeah, just for a future one, I'd be great to hear that. That's all I've got.
One quick thing on the funding, because I know some of the Little League groups around here, specifically for baseball, just because I remember that I know some of the Little League groups have gotten like free tickets from like a patch of free tickets from the Aqua Sox. And then they sell those as a funding mechanism. So maybe that could be a path to go down for baseball. I don't know if the head coach wants to take that on or something.
Good to know.
But yeah, so that would be a good option because I mean, you sell them at $30 a piece or whatever that they are. And that's all profit in your pocket if you're getting them free. The other thing, lots of very impressive athletes. The one thing that did stand out to me, and I quickly beat that, is Ben Rojas 5K time at 15 or 16 something.
16:57.
Yeah, I looked. He's like 2.5 minutes off of the world record in the age group. So it's like I mean, granted, a 5K 2.5 minutes is a long time, but still, that is cooking.
Yeah.
That is wildly fast and impressive. So, and it's just easier to put that right when you have a time that you're beating versus other individuals. It's much easier to put the scale and scope together. But yeah, I just wanted to point out, like, bravo to that. That is wildly impressive. So that's all that
I noticed on your slide that you mentioned a student who was accepted into the Air Force Academy.
Yes,
So,
right.
so congratulations to Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty pumped.
That's awesome.
Any other questions? Any questions?
I had a question. Can you remind us, because I always look at Sultan as sort of the sister district. Why are they moving up to 2A? Are they growing that much faster than us?
The count, they were like 45 over on the count.
Okay.
And when we did our November count, we were 500. And it's an average. And so I would say we're growing faster, but they have a heck of a lot of houses going in right now.
Right.
When I went there, I mean, there's building everywhere and there was condos everywhere, kind of similar to what we're doing.
And is the process that they could they petition to stay?
Yes.
Okay,
They were denied,
but they were, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that helps.
they're going totally independent.
Okay,
So we will be facing them in multiple sports, but when it comes to postseason, it's going to be very difficult for them to get anything done in postseason.
the other thing I wanted to say is just give a huge thank you to Tony. This is a model that I had adopted in some other similar sized districts of having our two administrators really focus on more of the academics and having a teacher teach part-time and provide athletic leadership on the other part. And Tony just stepped right up and he did a phenomenal job. Makes me continue to be a little resentful toward Washington funding because again, we have to put Tony, and I love having Tony in the classroom too. And so that's a win for us. But
I just thought you said I was too short or something.
but again, thank you for stepping up
I
and
appreciate that. Thank you.
providing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Ariel Castaneda and the FBLA team for their FBLA reports.
Hello, we're your Granite Falls School District Future Business Leaders of America.
FBLA provides high school students just like us a platform for both personal and professional growth. It also helps us build essential skill assets, just like leadership, communication, critical thinking, and teamwork. FBLA not only inspires students, but also prepares us students just for community-minded.
FBLA assists with organizing community service projects and facilitates in making sure that they are successful, such as collecting food items for the annual Granite Falls Food and Gift Drive. We assist with preparing weekend food bags, sorting items, and keeping inventory of goods. and assisting with running empty bowls to help raise funds for the food bank. We also collect miscellaneous items in need throughout the community, such as prom dresses, blankets, and clothing. These experiences inspire and prepare students to become community-minded business leaders throughout relevant career preparation and community involvement. The Granite Falls Strategic Plan is used to foster a consistent district-wide culture that encourages and celebrates student success at all levels, enabling a climate of mutual respect, inspired learning, character, and life skills development. FBLA sets the stage for all of this by emphasizing mutual respect and collaboration during competition and team building activities. Students learn collaboration and positive work dynamics. Inspired learning cultivates curiosity and innovation, essential for leadership. Presentation events allow our team to be creative and come up with new ideas. Character development instills integrity and resilience, crucial for ethical decision-making. Life skills like communication and problem solving prepare students for the demands of the professional world. This holistic approach ensures students are not just academically successful, but also well equipped to lead in the business realm, contributing positively to our community.
It really offers many amazing opportunities. The professional development workshops at the regional, state, and national conferences that teaches a variety of topics, from business, law, college application essays, and even criminal justice. These conferences offer inspirational keynote speakers that share their success stories and how we can achieve our goals. These leadership conferences also provide us opportunities for competition in hundreds of relevant categories at the regional, state, and even international level. I personally love this idea of competition. It provides students with more engaging and hands-on learning in the business fields and playing the character in case studies, as well as being awarded for those who put in the work. I've been grateful to attend both the regional and state conferences for the past 2 years. I've placed top in the state numerous times. This year, I plan not to lose my second chance to compete at the national conference. Prior to being a part of FBLA, I didn't feel like I belonged in a specific group at school. I've since found a huge part of who I am, how much potential I have thanks to this organization. Also prior to FBLA, I always feared and despised class presentations. I always feared the all eyes on me aspect when it came to public speaking. I've been pushed so far in my comfort zone, going from fear of class presenting to justice for competitions, as well as being in the spotlight for schoolwork, let alone presenting my story and how passionate I am about spreading this organization throughout the district to show these students that there's so many opportunities out there. And that FBLA is not just a club, but a stepping stone to the professional world. With your support, we can expand FBLA throughout the district to provide students just like us many opportunities of competition, as well as development in the personal and professional growth. You can support our cause by giving our fundraisers, as well as our FBLA chapter, recognition on social media outlets and by donations.
Hi, I am FBLA's president. I just want to say thank you guys for having us be here and presenting our opportunity to speak. We do appreciate your guys' support, and we value the community time you have given us, and we are excited to compete on Granite Falls' behalf at the national level.
Support. Or do you have questions?
I do. So when are your fundraisers? When can I come to give you money and support all the great things that you're doing?
So we have been doing a lot of concessions for track meets, and we set up a concession stand for softball games. We will be at the track meet this Saturday at the 11th, and we're also going to be selling Krispy Kremes there. Krispy Kremes is kind of what the whole town loves doing it, right? So we do it, we feel like we get a good return on it. But we do love getting together and working at the concession stands at the stadium or inside the school. It really gives us a chance to bond, but also like work together as a team, right? So it's been a lot of fun.
We also, as a brainstorming thing at the meetings, we think of new ways to fundraise and stuff like that. I know I personally have come up with ideas to fundraise throughout the school when it comes to more student-led fundraising opportunities.
There's also Night of the Arts, which is coming up May 23rd, Thursday, May 23rd, and we'll have a table there, and we'll be selling some of our arts goods, and the money that we raise will go right to the FBLA. We recently were added to
the donation section on our district website. So there's Granite Falls FBLA on there, so if you guys want to donate, go ahead and donate, right? Anything else, right? A lot of our students are taking on the burden of, the cost of travel, the cost of registration, the cost of hotel room. Their families are taking that on. We're doing what we can to supplement and support them as much as possible. We have a couple of seniors that, have been with us for a couple of years, and we would like them to, experience nationals, because state is amazing, regionals are amazing, but nationals is a whole nother level. This year it's in Orlando, Florida. So when we go, it's gonna be from Wednesday to Tuesday. It's like the June 27th to July 2nd or 3rd. But it's a great opportunity, and we've had students that have worked really hard all year for it. So we're just gonna continue to work hard for them.
Yeah.
FBLA was ran by Miss Lund from the high school for so many years. She had such a great program, 30+ kids involved. And so we're trying to do our best. Myra Perkins and we both teach here at Crossroads, and we travel over to the high school to run our meetings and to just be there for our students. So we're just trying to grow it and just make this, a great thing, because it is a great opportunity for our students to get like real life experience with presenting and working as teams and competency exams and stuff like that. Kelvin has placed so high in accounting 1 and accounting 2, not just like basic math, like he's doing like real life accounting stuff. And so he's gonna compete at nationals in accounting 2. Like he had the opportunity to choose between number 1 and number 2, and he said, I'm going for number 2. And so we want to support him as much as possible, and that's what we're trying to do.
Do you guys use the boosters as a?
So since we're such a new program, so Myra and I have only been in it for this year and last year, we haven't really tapped into that. But we're really like looking at Lonnie Hall and what he does with FFA, and we want to try to do something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Right, so he has a schedule throughout the year. We do this, we do this in October, we do this in December.
Right.
And so he is kind of, the guy that I look up to. I'd like to sit down with him and kind of see how he utilizes his boosters.
Yeah.
But no, we have not really tapped into that resource yet, just because we're so new and we're just trying to, fundraising has been the biggest thing and just looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think the boosters would be a great opportunity. We just need to work on folding that in.
Yeah, and I think, oh, go ahead, Bridget.
They're fundraising. Calvin's mom has graciously, I think it's your mom, right? Works at the Eagles, and I know Crossroads has worked with the Eagles quite a bit. But she's coming up with some different fundraisers to do through the Eagles Club as well, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing, like if there's a way to advertise those dates interiorly and externally, because I know Granite does pretty well about supporting Granite programs and stuff like that. Like I would love, there's nothing I love more than being like, oh, it's a Saturday and there's a car wash. I'm gonna go get my car wash and pay $40 for it, Like it just feels good. Like I'm doing the good thing today, so the more I think you can do that, I mean, obviously you don't need the mansplaining or anything, but the more I think you can do that, just because I find that there's a lot of programs and great things happening in Granite, and this is an overreaching thing, by the way. This just isn't us that we don't. Dr. M and I've talked about, we don't tell our story well enough about like all the great things that we're doing and all the ways that people in this community can support this community and stuff like that. So that's just a general statement. I'll get off my soapbox on that.
So we utilize, Facebook and the Granite Falls community groups. I live in like Stevens, and we utilize that group, but usually when we do our Krispy Kreme sales, they're talking to family and friends and teachers and stuff, and then we're promoting it on social media. We usually schedule like a pickup time, or sometimes if they're close to where we are, we'll do deliveries and stuff like that. So we try that, but I think, getting you guys the message too as our school board, and then you guys got a lot of friends, right? So that's always.
How many students from the high school and Crossroads were in the program today?
So we have 8 from the high school and, 4. Yeah, so we have
5 from Crossroads. 5 from Crossroads.
5 from Crossroads and 5 from the high school. So we have a total of 10 students that are part of it. Everyone was able to travel and compete in Spokane for our state competition. So that was a lot of fun for us. And
Other comments or questions?
I just have one if we're done.
I had Yeah.
You know, you go first. I've talked multiple times. You go.
I just wanted to say I was also scared of public speaking, and here I am. But yeah, I think probably that's for all kids in high school, but you guys did a great job and thank you.
That's actually what I wanted to say, just from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate you guys coming out. Like, you guys are the reason that I sit in this chair. Like, to see people in our school successful, vibrant, passionate about the things they do and wanting to work hard. Like, you guys are the reason I sit here. So I can run on this high for the next couple of months. Ariel, I could literally listen to you talk all day long. Like, literally, like, I want to just give you books to read and I'm gonna just like, oh, you were amazing. Like, literally, not taking anything away from you guys. You guys are great. But I just, your voice is amazing. It's really, really, really cool. So that's all I got.
Perfect, thank you. Appreciate it. And next we have business report prepared by Marshall Cruz.
And you guys are welcome to stay if you want to, but you don't feel like you have to, by the way, if you've got other things you want to go. Marshall's kind of a downer.
I wasn't gonna present, but I want to give one last opportunity to see the enrollment projections before we start working those into the budget. So we're showing a very conservative growth of 7 students from our year-end projection. So you know, we tried to best anticipate what happens if the loss of students, going to be able to running start and other things, and came up with what we think is a very conservative yet close enough to accurately build a budget off of it. And then we'll do our normal thing over the summer is we'll have some open positions that we'll hold open. We'll watch enrollment come in and we'll add some teachers as needed as the enrollment comes in if it's higher than the projected.
It's okay. That's cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Marshall, we, one of the things that I just want to make sure it didn't drop off the radar, and I'm sure it didn't, I guess I just want to be assured, is we talked about needing to add portables at both of the primary schools, due to the population and stuff. Like, are we still in that spot? Or if yes, have we allocated for that?
We need to react to the growth that we're having, especially at the elementary schools. And the way we're doing that is we've decided to move the preschool over to the district office and put it at the bottom floor of the district office, and move all district office staff upstairs. So there'll be 5 preschool rooms all in one place. Right now, there's 3 preschool rooms in one wing of Monte Cristo and 2 out in the portables. So they're not connected at all. They're not together. They're very opposite sides of campus. And here they'll be all in one spot. They'll have brick and mortar classrooms. And we can all move upstairs. We have plenty of space. So that'll free up 5 classrooms at Monte Cristo for growth. The cost to put portables at Monte Cristo was going to be to add about 2 classrooms was going to be about $700,000. The existing place where we have portables, there's no more room for portables there. So we have to start by putting in a new infrastructure for portables in a new location at Monte Cristo. And to run power all the way from the street to there, to add transformer boxes, to run water and sewer, all that stuff. This infrastructure alone was like $200,000. And a new portable is about $350,000 if it has water in it, about $280,000 if it doesn't. And then there's the setting of the portable also. So we felt like if maybe we invest $75,000 or $100,000 into this building, get the preschool all together in one spot, move our staff upstairs. We think that's at least a 4 to 5 year solution for a preschool.
Where we don't need portables and stuff like that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. I appreciate that. That's out of the box thinking, and I really, really, really am happy about that. You know, the question I always ask every year when you show an increase, because, you know, at least Tina and I sat here where we were like, oh, we're gonna do a conservative increase, and then it just went, and we lost a ton. What are your numbers? I mean, forecasting numbers, what are they actually, what do you actually think we're going to have? Like, do you feel?
I think we could be 30 more than what we're forecasting, but I would rather be extra conservative. Not the risk is kindergarten. It's just not, you hear things about birth rates being down a little bit and growth rates in our city are down because there's a building moratorium. So you worry a little bit about kindergarten. So keeping a conservative projection allows us to react to kindergarten if we need to.
Got it. That's all I've got.
Any other?
The only thing so the bus is always, right, our transportation budget's its own like unique thing. My only question was the bus that was totaled, assuming that, does that have to be absorbed by that budget, or I'm assuming there's some level of insurance?
Right, so when if we have a bus accident that tolls a bus, we kind of we work with risk management, determine if it's appropriate to total the bus, or if it's appropriate to make repairs on the bus.
Mhm.
If we decide to total it, then we make a decision if, is there any parts on the bus that are salvageable?
Mhm.
And if we determine there's some parts salvageable, they reduce a little bit of the reimbursement to give us from risk management. But on the total bus, I think we decided that we would keep the one piece of the bus, like one component that was $1,200.
Okay,
And so we subtracted $1,200 from the insurance reimbursement they gave us. I think it was $180,000
Okay.
replacement value.
okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just making sure that that's
Yeah.
all lined up.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Thank you, Marshall.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, next is Dr. Middleton with their superintendent report.
I think I'll just stay seated today, but I do have some slides. And what's interesting is we have tonight's regular board meeting with regular business, and then we have Success and Ed on the 22nd. But this is my last superintendent report. And after I went back and counted 457 of these, and then throw in a few work sessions, and it's quite a few. But what I wanted to just share, let's go ahead, Corey. It's been a truly unconventional 5 years, given the first 2.5 years. Certainly challenging, rewarding. My first board report, I think back in July of the first year, was the 3 C's of cash and culture and curriculum. And then you can't see the bottom uninvited C, but that's COVID. And that came along too. Let's go to the next slide, Corey. So, on cash, we're better off than 19, but we're nowhere near where we wanted to be. During COVID, we were able to actually build our fund balance up. We never got to the 5%. But we just got to keep going. And I think we're one of the few districts that are actually building a fund balance during this year. But I know we're going to see all of our neighbors, their fund balances are dropping, and they're going to be much closer to us. And again, there's a fundamental issue with the state system, but a little bit better off. Curriculum, I couldn't be more pleased and proud. We really didn't have an adoption cycle, and it felt like we were just sort of spot checking here and there. And so for us to finally go through and adopt a K-12 math, and since then we've looked at health and language arts, and sort of holding off on science, but we've got to at some point, but we're waiting for a quality curriculum to come out that really is endorsed. But we're on the right track there. And then when you add iReady and MAP, and I'll say it again, we are a year away from being on par with the state, and then I think exceeding. And so I think that's great news for us. And when you think about our first school improvement plans, and just sort of some nice pictures, a lot of activities which are important, but where was the drive to improve? And so when I compare what we were presenting the first year to now, and where it's really focused, we're going to hit this target. It's exciting for this district. So can't wait to hear more. Let's go ahead, Corey, to our next slide. And then culture, I've said this before, we've all, I think, agreed to this, and I'm excited for FBLA to be here tonight to hear this, because they're going to be very successful in raising funds for their national trip. Because honestly, in all the districts I've served, Granite Falls is one of the most giving communities. It is just amazing. There's anything I'd like to work on if I were to continue to be in Granite Falls, is the grass isn't greener elsewhere. There are issues, there are very similar problems. Yes, they get a little bit more funding with regionalization, but there, like Director Carey said, there are so many great things going on. And tonight we heard from high school athletics to FBLA. And so that, I think things are great. And, you know, one of the parts of the culture that I'm really proud of is just working with our associations, because they were not a trusting group in terms of looking at this office and looking at administration and management. And now it's just pretty exciting to really be on speed dial with them, that anything that comes up, just call, and really at any time. And I wasn't an exaggeration when I shared that at Success Ed a couple of weeks ago. We really do call when there's an issue right away and start to address it. And then the other thing on culture is, you know, sometimes we have to own our own disposition. And sometimes I would just challenge our community, our school employees and our parents, just, you know what? Yeah, sometimes there are some challenges, but there are great things going on, and how we look at things really can make a difference as to what can happen. Let's go to the next. So final slide, I think, is, you know, I feel like that there's been a lot of good during these 5 years. You know, I've grown to accept. I was a little resentful at first with having a pandemic during a time when we were just 6 months in and really getting to roll and have some great things. But at some point, you have to accept the cards that you're dealt. And so I've come to do that. But post-pandemic, and during this transition time, especially with Dana spending as much time up here as we're fortunate to have, it's really great to have a fresh set of eyes on things. Because I know COVID has taken a toll on a number of superintendents. And for her to come in and just, you know, take a look at, with a fresh set of eyes, finances, our organizational structure, roles and responsibility, just processes. It's been exciting to work with her and have her come in and say, you know, there's a little tweak we could do. Like, you're right. That's exactly what we should be doing. And so it's really exciting. I think the challenge for our district is, you know, asking, and this is self-reflection for our staff and community, you know, who's all in? I mean, if you're not in, move on then. And that's okay to say. And so I think that's a message that, you know, my last few weeks here, and I know during this transition time and then Dana's first time, that will be the challenge for everyone, is it's time to get on board. We've done some good things, but I know this board and Dana and leadership, we're going to go from good to great. And I've said this all along, I'm going to be cheering all along for success. I'm cheering for Dana and her success and your success and the entire district. And so I'm looking forward to getting those updates, especially when it comes to SBAC time and seeing the things that, you know, that have been put in place and the tweaks we have been made to go from, you know, sort of haphazard, maybe mediocre to good, and now moving on to great. So just with deep appreciation Just, again, want to thank you. Thank you to Director Carey, who watched every single Middleton School District board meeting. And I'm just gonna say it, and some of the 2 or 3 jack wagons there. Really just, but yet came to say, you know what, that's our guy. He persevered and he'll do fine here. So again, thank you for that.
Board, any questions, comments?
No, it's been. It's weird, it sneaks up on you, but, you know, even with, you know, a little bit, almost like a month out, it's wild to hear how many of these that you've gone through and, you know, appreciate your leadership as well, and you'll be missed. I don't know if this is the official goodbye meeting, but.
We got graduation, we got success in it.
We got all sorts of
He
things,
doesn't
but,
get to run.
Nothing like that.
but yeah,
This is just me saying thank you.
but yeah, no, we've appreciated it, or at least I've appreciated it.
Yeah, I'll save my tearful speech for later, because I'm already gonna have to give one tonight. So I appreciate you, Doctor. I always have, always will. Thank you.
5 years. I just wanted to say thank you too. I guess we're both kind of getting out
Yeah,
about
that's
the
right.
same time. All right, thank you. Next, we have for recognitions, the certificated staff appreciation, and Director Carey has agreed to read this because his voice carries better than mine.
I would, absolutely. So I'd like to read a proclamation on National Teacher Appreciation Day and National Teacher Appreciation Week. In schools across America, teachers are arriving early to set up classrooms, spending long hours educating students and staying late to prepare tomorrow's lessons plans. Thank you, teachers. Their devotion to our children embodies the best of America, ready to serve and eager to see others thrive. Today and during this week, we celebrate our nation's remarkable teachers and early childhood educators, and we recommit to having their backs just as they have ours. In the words of the First Lady, a lifelong educator, teaching is a calling, a way to live out the belief that we can shape our corner of the world one student at a time. But shaping that world demands a lot. Teaching happens inside and outside the classroom. It often includes spending extra time coaching teams, supporting students' clubs, and helping kids catch up when they have fallen behind. It means giving young children the foundational skills for success during a critical period of their development. It also demands being endlessly adaptable, like at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when many classes went online and teachers had to find new ways to keep students engaged in learning. When Jill and I recently hosted the 2023 National Teacher of the Year ceremony at the White House, we were deeply inspired again by the dedication, creativity, and loving strength of our nation's educators. We owe our teachers and early childhood educators so much. We need to pay them better, improve their working conditions, and focus on recruitment and retention. My administration's American Rescue Plan support early childhood programs and help K-12 schools across the country reopen, hire more educators, boost salaries, increase mental health services, and expand after school and summer programs. Thanks to our investments, public schools across the country have added more than 500,000 educators and staff. Compared with before the pandemic, the number of social workers nationwide is up 48%. The number of school nurses is up 42%, and the number of school counselors is up 10%. My fiscal year 2024 budget calls for $600 billion to provide access to high-quality care and preschool programs so all families can afford to enroll their children, and so early childhood educators have higher wages. It would also increase funding for Title I schools, which serve some of the most disadvantaged communities in our nation, to give teachers a raise and expand their ranks. And it calls on Congress to increase salaries for Head Start staff and invest $300 million to help address shortages of special education teachers across America. My administration has worked to fix the public school loan forgiveness program, a key step in meeting our commitment to those who have chosen this vital profession and other areas of public service. To date, we have helped over 450,000 public service employees, including teachers, get nearly $31 billion in student loan forgiveness. In many cases, educators have had their entire student debt wiped out. Supporting our teachers also demands that we keep them and their students safe at school. Last year, I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 3 decades, which includes enhanced background checks for individuals under the age of 21 and funding for states to enact red flag laws that can keep guns from people who are a danger to themselves and others. This law also authorized more than $1 billion to improve student mental health, enabling schools to hire and train thousands of new mental health professionals. Schools should be places to learn, make friends, and feel the support of a real community. No teacher or student should have to wonder whether the goodbye hug they give their loved one before going to school one day will be their last. Greatness of a nation is measured in part by how it prepares the next generation to succeed. Our National Teacher Appreciation Day and during National Teacher Appreciation Week, we honor the remarkable educators entrusted with this responsibility. As I have traveled the country and met so many of our teachers and seen their passion and dedication, I've never been more confident in the future of America. Now, therefore, I, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim May 9th, 2023, although that should be 2024, maybe this is last year, as Teacher Appreciation Day and May 7th through May 13th as National Teacher Appreciation Week. I call upon all Americans to recognize the hard work and dedication of our nation's teachers and to observe this day and this week by supporting teachers through appropriate activities, events, and programs. The witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 5th day of May in the year of our Lord, 2023, it says, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 247th. Signed, Joseph R. Biden. I said a lot there. The only thing I guess additionally I want to say is that I love and appreciate our teachers isn't enough. And I don't say this because I think that we, the board, need any special kudos, but I know that it was important to the board, despite the financial things that we're doing, to make sure that we recognize teachers. So we funded out of our own pockets, donuts and stuff for all the teachers and staff in our district. Huge thank you to Paris and to Melanie for setting that up and helping us coordinate that. It's the absolute least that we can do. I've often said that we might not pay as much as other districts, but no other district will love you and support you and appreciate you as much as we'll do. And so I'm thankful to the board for being willing to do that when I came to them with a crazy idea of, hey, how about we do this? And really appreciate all of the hard work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So.
Thank you. 3B board comments.
Can I start real quick? Just because Dr. M, tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't I just see a text that the Snohomish County School Board, Snohomish School District voted to deny the land transfer? That's awesome. That's really, really good news. So I guess I wanted to start board comments with that good news. And to any of those families or anything that are in that area, I welcome you to come talk to us. We haven't really had the chance to have dialogue. And obviously you have some concerns and I want to hear them. And I know you do, Dr. M, and I know you do, Dana, and we would love to sit down and figure out how we can partner together to make this district fantastic and fit whatever the need is that they feel is missing here. So really appreciate the Snohomish School Board with giving me the ability to come and speak to them and kind of provide the details on how that if the transfer was approved, it would have impacted us. So thank you.
I think on the tail end of what you just said, people in that community that had concern and were taught or had proposed moving out of our school district with the opening of Director Beach's position, someone in that community could have the opportunity to actually come and sit on this board.
Oh, wow.
And help guide us in the future and really reflect what their community, their area of the community needs from our school district.
What a great point. Thanks for bringing that up.
That was my one.
Oh, sorry. What a great point.
That means great minds think alike, right?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, exactly. As you might notice, next thing is my resignation, which means that there.
More comments.
I know, but it means that there will be this position open, right? For somebody in I don't know the neighborhood name for that.
Carpenter Ridge.
Oh, is that really
Yeah.
Carpenter Ridge? I knew that that's where they were, but for Carpenter Ridge, if they're interested, the position will be available soon. Sooner than I realized. Anyway, so thank you for bringing that up. That was great.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to take your thunder.
No,
But one more thing is that I got to participate at the high school in Career Day, which I want to appreciate the high school for actually holding that during lunch and allowing colleges and employers to come in and interact with high school students. I think that was a well-chosen time. The last couple that I've been, or over years, we've done that on days where students weren't in the school. We were doing it on like an after-school thing, but to be there at lunchtime and allow the students to organically mix in to the the representatives that were there from different industry and local colleges. I think it worked well, and I believe the students had a really good opportunity to come in and explore their futures.
Thank you.
So I appreciate the high school for that.
I mean, so that's fantastic news, right? To hear that. The other thing is just obviously as the sun starts coming out, as we start seeing this, it reminds me of my favorite time of the year as a school board member, which is we're approaching graduation season. And so excited, you know, early congratulations to everybody that is going to be walking, but I know that's my favorite series of events to partake in is standing on that stage and watching. It's so crazy to think that, you know, there will be, you know, a few dozen people sitting there at Crossroads or a few hundred people, you know, at the high school, and to think that everybody that has been living in this community and all these for 10 or for 18 years maybe is now, one's going to go off to basic training in Georgia, one's going to go, you know, crab fishing in Alaska, one's going to go move down to California to try to be a movie star. Like it's so crazy. And it's also exciting though, just to know that there's so much potential out there. And you know, the FBLA students, you know, that's an excellent, the ability to learn the soft skills even too that you're learning that just aren't taught in traditional school, right? The ability to interact, like you would be surprised at the amount of people that leave high school and they just don't know how to talk to other adults, right? It's a soft skill that you don't really think I have to go learn this, but when you do, man, it sets you apart from everybody else. And so just excited for all that's to come. Yeah, that's kind of high level.
Thank you. Director Kincaid?
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of go off of the teacher appreciation and staff appreciation and but carry on with that this weekend is also Mother's Day. And I have a newfound appreciation to every educator out there who is a mother or mother figure at the same time. Getting up in the morning, getting your kids out the door to school, going to school yourself, taking care of 24 other people's kids all day long, then going home, feeding them dinner, doing the homework. It's a lot. So appreciate them because it's a lot. And it's a whole new world for me and it's a lot. So I don't mean to, I don't know why I'm crying, I'm not sad, but just, you know, it's just a lot. And so I just wanted to thank all of the people out there who are mothers or mother figures and that they have just an amazing weekend of recognition also. And then what's the other thing? I have another thing.
That happens to me.
I lost it.
We can come back to it.
Whatever.
It comes back.
I had to hold on anything and I lost.
Could I
That's all
take a
I'm
point of privilege just real quick
Yeah.
and then say, and then you do all of that stuff, Carly, and then you come help manage a school district, right? Like don't leave that out. Like
Yeah.
you're amazing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Two comments?
That's it.
Yeah, I just have a few things. So we have a few dates coming up. We have senior tea on June 3rd. Senior presentations are on May 14th, and you guys can sign up to be judges for that. And I have a flyer that I can give you to sign up. Night of the Arts on May 23rd, and then we're just currently doing state testing right now. All I have.
As you may have heard earlier, we have FBLA students from both Crossroads and Granite Falls High School competed at state and made it to the national level. And I just kind of want to say congratulations to my teammates. I'm really proud of all of us, you know. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, that's the big thing that's going on. Yeah, Crossroads is very, we're smooth sailing.
Awesome. I remembered what I was gonna say. You can go.
Oh, and then we just had our prom and.
I just remembered, when she was saying about the senior presentations and I got the email about judging and stuff and because of my schedule, I'm on the same school schedule, so I can't do it this year, but I have to say I did it last year and it was awesome. It was so much fun to see the seniors and their goals and the things that they're excited about and just that, you know, that look in their eye, they're ready to take on the world and it's a lot of fun. So if you guys haven't done it, I would highly suggest going and doing it because it is amazing. And FBLA, I'm so proud of you guys. Like, you guys are awesome. So it's really cool to see. So.
I don't have any other board comments. I'm gonna save my resignation
For the very next.
for the next.
For the very next.
Yeah, since it's on the agenda. All right. Do you have anything else other than that? Next, 3C, Tina Beach resignation and selecting a new board member. Sadly, I turned in my resignation because I told you guys in the letter, I always say I'm not a quitter, but I need to tap out and it sucks, but the responsibility is too much and my ability to, just my stamina and my analytical ability it isn't there yet. It isn't there yet. So sadly, tonight's my last night. And I wrote out this thing and now I can't read it, but to each of you for serving with me. And I'll also mention Dr. Panengas and Robert Butler and Dave Green, who served with me as well. We're just a few weeks short of 6 years, which is crazy. I looked in my calendar, like next month, right, is 6 years. And then I hear about like graduation, and it really is my favorite time of the year. Like all this other stuff is kind of a drag sometimes, right? And it really beats you down, you know. And then you get to June and like there's so much enthusiasm and like the presentations and the graduations and like kids that you can see have just really worked so hard. Like for me, that's the thing that makes all the rest of it, like, no offense, Marshall, but finance reports and things, right? Like, that's not necessarily up there for me. I mean, I do it, but it's not my favorite. But my favorite is the graduations. Then I'm like, dang, maybe I could have hung on one more month just to go to graduation. But truthfully, it's not fair to the district because I'm just not there yet. And so anyway, thank you to each of you, truly, and to those in the cabinet that have been with me the whole 6 years back there in the way back, and to the building administrators for the number of times they've invited me to come into the schools and see the students. And I've made it for some, but it seems like health-wise, 2023 was kind of a dumpster fire. So I just didn't. Anyway, I appreciate the invitations. I appreciate the thank you gifts and the cards and the things that the students have given to us as a board, because that also is kind of the thing that makes making it through the finance reports easier. So thank you. Thank you all. And I know I have 1,000 things to say, and I'll just have to share those individually and personally, but thank you.
Thank you.
Other people have stuff to say, I'm sure.
Any other discussion before?
I mean, I eternally grateful for, you stepping up, you and Robert, both when I first joined back when I was interviewing and we were all still in masks. And yep, we're still in masks then. pre-mask, post-mask. That's the new date that we go off of. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm eternally grateful. We've had many a long conversation on the phone where we're beating our head against the proverbial wall, trying to figure out the best way forward. Believe it or not, we're all just people. Like we're all just people. We're all trying to solve a solution. And I will say that you know, nobody holds a candle as well to the care, the support, the effort that you do put behind it. So I've leaned on you. You'll be greatly missed. And yeah, just again, can't express my appreciation enough. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
I thought like this morning, as I was sitting thinking about this moment, I was like, I think I can wing it. Like, I'm just gonna like, just wing it and stuff. And then even as I was thinking about the things I was gonna say, I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. So I wrote it down. If that's okay, which I don't typically do, but I was like, I gotta get everything that I want to say out. Okay. It's with a heart full of gratitude and admiration that I have the honor of speaking about my friend, my colleague, board chair Tina, who is retiring after 6 incredibly impactful years on the Grand Falls School Board. I thought about how to start this in so many ways, and I thought the best way I could start this is admitting the truth, a confession. When Tina applied to be appointed to the board, I actually didn't vote for her. I don't know if you remember that or not. I voted for the other person, and I don't even remember who the other person was. And looking back, I realize I'm on the wrong side of history on that, because your tenure has been one of the most gratuitous and invaluable decisions this board's ever made. I was thinking about all the memories that I have of you, and all of the things that stand out. And there's one in particular that stands out really vividly. Unfortunately, it was me visiting you in the hospital. Shortly after you had been admitted, you were in the IC room, seemingly more machine than human. You had tubes and coming out and surrounded by a labyrinth of beeping monitors. And looking at you in that bed, I thought, Tina might not walk out of here, let alone sit next to me in this chair. It just seemed almost beyond hope. It was about then I remember that you opened up your eyes and you said, "Well, hi, Carl." And then you went right back to bed. And I thought, I saw the quiet resilience that you have. But most importantly, I think I really started to understand the extraordinary depth of your strength. And your journey from that day to this has been nothing short of an absolute miracle. I believe deeply in a Heavenly Father, and I believe in miracles. It is an absolute miracle that you are sitting here today. And I was going through some texts, and I remember a text that you sent me when you were freshly out of the hospital, and you were talking about gratitude and how much gratitude meant to you, and how you were going to each individual caregiver to tell them thank you and the gratitude for literally saving your life. You talked about the ones that sat with you, the ones that gave you medicine, the ones that gave you medical support and comfort during that time. And I realized that feeling of gratitude really resonated with me, because that's the gratitude I have for you, Tina. You worked your patootie off on this board. We've had text, 20 scrolling texts in a row where I'm like, oh no, Tina's talking about this or that, and it's always so well thought out and so logical, and so like it forces me to think outside of myself and to think of things in a different way, and that's one of your giftings. You're a relentless champion for education and one of the strongest advocates I know for students, and your efforts, and I hope you know this from the bottom of your soul, have made this district a better place for our students and our staff. And I will spend the rest of my time on this board doing my best Tina Beach impersonation. You, throughout these years, you've not only been an exceptional colleague, you've been a treasured friend. And I hope that you know that your legacy not only to me, but to others is inspiring and noble. So on the final thought, I just wanted to say that even though I fully support your decision to resign, I plan to symbolically vote against accepting your resignation, just as I mistakenly didn't vote for your appointment. It seems only fitting to conclude your extraordinary tenure with this personal tribute to the invaluable contributions you've made. So I just want to say, may the next chapter of your life bring you as much joy and fulfillment as you have brought to our community. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I got through that without crying. I can't believe I did that.
And I'm a little, as you were talking about whatever, it popped into my mind that the previous superintendent on her way out left some parting words, and
You're the worst.
yeah,
Think was the
Tina,
statement.
you're the worst, was the first sentence of the second paragraph, or the first sentence where she talked about each of us individually. So I began my career here, Tina, you're the worst. And she's not the superintendent anymore, so anyway, and I appreciate all her vote of confidence that somehow I single-handedly, as one person on a board of 5, and having been here a month or 2, had that much pull, because I don't think that was true. But anyway, as you were talking about the changes that have happened, I began this with Tina, you're the worst, right? And then as you were talking about medical professionals, I look at Bill down there, whose name I couldn't remember 2 weeks ago, but luckily I can see his nameplate tonight, so that's good. I'm a cheater, I really am, but there are staff members that work for Bill in the EMTs that, one of the EMTs on the way to the hospital, she just held my hand, right? And I really think that was impactful, just to keep blood pressure down and aneurysm not leaking so fast into my brain. So that was just small things like that. The small things that we do here and in the classrooms, like, they do make a difference. Sometimes though, you start to wonder, like, man, this is hard and this is a lot of work. And am I making a difference? Is anything getting any better at all? Right? And that's those days happen too, but I'm grateful for the time that we've had together and for the time, and I'm not going away. I just won't read all of the board packet. Marshall, still looking at you, Marshall.
Really giving it hard to Marshall.
Marshall's slides are fine. It's the big reports that I look through that, and it takes 6 years to start to understand all of it. And I don't know how many annual trainings before you start to get it all, but anyway, thank you. That's what I want to say.
Is it okay? Dr. Im's going to talk about the process now and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I just want to give my thanks,
Yeah.
because what I appreciated is, what I appreciated is you have always been about student and student learning. And of course, that's my train as well. And so I think we certainly connected on that. And I think, you're going to continue to see success, and both you and I are stepping away, but we're going to be able to see some of the fruits of the work at the board. And so thank you for that. And then the second part is, it's, I've worked with a number of boards, but I consider you a very good friend. And what's been really fun is, as we have monthly meetings, we talk about school stuff, but there's almost nothing that we haven't we talk about.
Yeah.
And whether it is allergies or University of Utah or a number of other just common threads that have happened in our lives, it's so I consider you you were my neighbor, and you and Mike came up and helped us a couple times, and we were able to come over and help out a few times. So it's a great friend, a great neighbor. Our process is starting today. We have 90 days to fill this after the vacation of that seat. And so that puts us about August 6th. But what I would say to the board is you really have two routes. You could do something sort of aggressive. I would actually encourage this so that by the June 26th board meeting, you could appoint somebody, which would mean tomorrow between Paris getting whatever documentation's ready and Melanie just blasting it out on all communications that we have this vacancy. And typically we've left that open for 21 to 28 days. That's plenty of time. And then around the week of the 17th, you could have a night where you interview like we did with Bill and Peter, and then that following Wednesday, make the formal appointment. The other option would be, okay, you can wait a little bit longer and go for the July board meeting, which would be the 26th, I believe, or 24th. And get you another month, but I don't know, you have a new superintendent coming in, and that's why I just thought maybe you want to do something sooner than later. And so the process, again, just real quickly, is we get the word out. We put whatever date you want us to have, 3 weeks from today for, and typically it's just an application of why do you want to serve on the board? Of course, we have to make sure that they're in the qualifying district and all of those qualifications. We collect that, and then we set a day for when we want to interview those people of interest, and then at that following meeting, make that decision. Or maybe we do it that night of the interviews. I mean,
I think we use.
yeah.
Night of.
So I think you just have a couple of options, so.
Well, I know personally, sorry to jump ahead, I'm comfortable with the expedited option as long as we have, I would say 3 or so potential appointees.
Right.
And I like kind of focusing on that, because if we don't and we need to extend it, we give ourselves time rather than kind of leaving it out to July and going, uh-oh, we really gotta do something quick here. So 3 weeks seems like enough. I would imagine the district can help put out the communication that we've got an opening and stuff like that. And I personally am comfortable with that if you guys are.
Yeah.
And just a little extra motivation is if you exceed the 90 days, then that decision goes to the ESD to make the appointment. So
Which would never
as well.
happen. Yeah.
take that decision-making in your own hands.
Well, and if there's an appointment in June, that means the get together in July, the person will be around.
Yeah.
If you wait to the 24th of July, they'll have missed
The board
the
retreat,
opportunity to go to the board retreat.
which is so much fun. How can nobody wants to miss that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think we officially have to vote on your resignation because it's your resignation, but are you okay if we symbolically have a vote?
Sure, we can have a vote.
Would you like to call a vote in your own resignation?
Sure. I make a motion that we approve Tina Beach's resignation and selecting a new board member. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
Right. Next is annual organizational meeting policy 1210.
So I could take this one. So obviously Director Veach is our chair and has done an amazing job at it. Typically, we don't vote for reorganization until July or August. I technically could continue in the vice chair role, but it just makes things a little wonky, right? Because I'm technically not supposed to sign as a chair and stuff like that. So I asked Dr. M to put this on the agenda just so that we can kind of clean it up, especially as we're going to appoint a new board member and stuff like that. And then hopefully, again, we can have someone in June, and I will happily let someone be board chair after I'm done. I did talk with Carly and asked her if she would be willing to be vice chair. No offense to either one of you guys. She's led meetings a couple of times. She's done an amazing job. I've seen the video. So I thought just to keep things easy and keep the train moving to, again, when we vote in July or August, I thought that was the best. So, if you guys will have me, I'm comfortable being the chair as well as being the ledge rep, just continuing that. And then July or August, we'll see, where we go to from there. But I'm very willing to do anything else. I'm not saying if either one of you have a drive, I will happily bow so don't feel like I'm edging anybody out, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep the boat afloat and keep it going down the river and stuff. So, I know we have to do a very formalized process where we do roll call votes and someone has to nominate and stuff like that. I don't think, Paris, do I need to read the whole script? It's not technically July or August. Okay, just as long as we follow the process and stuff like that. So if we're good with that, we can go right into it and keep moving. Okay, so I think technically you have to call for nominations for president.
I will call for nominations for president.
I'd like to nominate Director Carey as president of the Grand Falls School Board.
No, second that.
And then you have to call roll call vote.
Oh, roll call. Right, Director Carey,
Yes.
Director Kincaid,
Yes.
Director Ledoux,
Yes.
Director Dane.
Yes.
Do I vote?
Yeah.
Oh, then I vote yes. as well. I didn't know. I just approved my own resignation.
You're not resigned to the end of the meeting, technically.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so then as the new president, I'd like to call for nominations for vice president, and I would like to nominate Carly Kincaid.
I would second.
Motion's been made in second. Director Dane,
Yes.
Director Ledoux,
Yes.
Director Kincaid,
Yes.
Director Carey, yes. Director Veach.
Yes.
All right. So call for nominations for President Pro Tem. So again, this is the person that leads the meetings if both Carly and I are gone. Although as I'm talking, I'm thinking out loud, we wouldn't have a quorum.
But you would probably have that fifth person before you would have another reorganization.
Okay, so as of the now, if that happens, we don't have a board meeting, but potentially when someone's here, if Carly and I were gone. Okay, got it. Do Director Dane, Director, do either one of you feel comfortable being pro tem? Sure. All right. I would like to nominate Director Ledoux for President Pro Tem. Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Roll call vote. Director Dane,
Yes.
Director Ledoux,
Yes.
Director Kincaid,
Yes.
Director Carey, yes. Director Veach.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh gosh, we have to go through all of this.
Yeah.
Nominations for ledge rep. Can I nominate myself just to streamline the process? I will nominate Carl Carey. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion remains second. Director Ledoux,
Yes.
Director Dane,
Yes.
Director Carey, yes. Director Kincaid.
Yes.
Director Veach.
Yes.
All right. Call for nominations for WIA rep. That's currently you, Director Ledoux, correct? Yeah, I would like to nominate Director Ledoux. Is there a second? All right, roll call vote. Director Dane, Director Ledoux.
Yes.
Director Kincaid.
Yes.
Director Carey, yes. Director Veach.
Yes.
Okay. Call for nominations for community liaison. Are you comfortable continuing to do this?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Director Kincaid. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Director Dane,
Yes.
Director Ledoux,
Yes.
Director Kincaid.
Yes.
Director Carey, yes. Director Veach.
Yes.
Okay. And the board preference on allocations of schools, can you remind, I know I have the middle school. Does everyone know their associated school?
Yeah.
Can you direct me? Crossroads,
Mountain Way.
Mountain Way,
Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo, and we're missing one now. So
High school.
I'm doing the middle school, so the high school's missing. So I'll put me down for middle school and high school. Okay, that is schools. All right, we've done it. So yay us, we have to do that again in July and August. Okay, July or August. Okay.
Do the rest of it or?
I guess I do the rest of it.
Items from.
Are there anyone to speak from the floor signed up? Okay. New business, none. Unfinished, none. Moving on to consent agenda. Are there any additions
Yes.
that are not in the, board?
Oh, no, just the ones on there.
Okay. So none after. Okay, so then unless there's any concerns, I will assume that the consent agenda is completed by unanimous consent, unless there's anything that we need to talk about. Okay. Let me flip it over. No, we have no executive session, so I will adjourn the meeting at 7:29, exactly on time.
Made it.
Yay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.